Today we want to look at price elasticity of demand and try to understand what it means. It is a measure of how responsive or how sensitive consumers are to price changes. Remember the law of demand that tells us that when the price of a good rises, the quantity demanded falls. That's what the law of demand tells us. Everything else held constant. When the price of a good rises, quantity demanded falls. But by how much? How much does quantity demanded fall when price rises? That's what elasticity helps us to measure. And if you're the manager of a store, this kind of information is important to you because you want to know how to stock up your shelves, how to figure out how consumers are going to respond to a price change. So let's look at these two goods here. Let's say this first good is Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, if you plot the price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis, you get a demand curve. And if the price of Cinnamon Toast Crunch is $2, the quantity demanded is maybe 10 boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Now, according to the law of demand, when the price of Cinnamon Toast Crunch increases to $3, quantity demanded falls to 6 boxes of cereal per month, for example. Now, let's look at another good. That good price is also $2 initially to start with. When it's $2, the quantity demanded is 10 boxes. Now, if you increase that price of this good to $3, the quantity demanded falls to 8 boxes. So just by eyeballing these two graphs, you can see that a $1 increase in price of Frosted Flakes and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch consumers respond more by dropping the quantity they consume from 10 to 6, but Frosted Flakes consumers reduce their quantity from 10 to 8. Then the law of demand is still in effect. These two graphs are both demand curves, still downward sloping, but the response of consumers to these price changes is different. Now we want to get a measure, a number to represent these changes, and that is where the concept of elasticity comes in. So if you want to calculate elasticity, you use this very simple formula. Elasticity of demand is equal to the percent change in quantity demanded divided by the percent change in the price of the good. That's a simple formula for elasticity. So with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, you would measure what this percent change is. And in another video, we will talk about how to calculate percent changes. But if this change from 10 to 6 gives us a percent change of 50%, and you divide that by the change in price from 2 to 3 gives us a 40% change in price, then we have elasticity of 1.25. So our elasticity of demand for Cinnamon Toast Crunch is 1.25. Now when we go to Frosted Flakes, the percent change in quantity demanded is 22.2%, and the percent change in price is 40%. So we have 0.55 as our elasticity of demand for Frosted Flakes. Now the rule of thumb with elasticity is that if elasticity of demand is greater than 1, the good is elastic. If elasticity of demand is less than 1, it is inelastic. And if elasticity of demand is equal to 1, it is unit elastic. So with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, elasticity of demand is equal to 1.25. It's greater than 1, so it is elastic. Frosted Flakes, elasticity of demand is 0.55. It is less than 1. It is inelastic. So we can tell by having these measures for each of these different goods to know whether it is elastic, very sensitive to price changes, or inelastic, not very sensitive. If you're selling goods that are inelastic, you would want to increase, you can increase the price of the good, and quantity demanded is not going to respond as much. But if you're selling a good that is elastic, that is very sensitive to price changes, you don't want to raise the price of such a good, because if you do that, consumers are going to cut back significantly from consuming that such a good, and so you don't want to raise prices of those types of goods. So if you're the manager of a store, this type of information is very useful for you to know how to make pricing decisions, because that at the end of the day would affect your bottom line, would affect your total revenue.